78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and that includes over half of those earning more than $100,000 a year. So clearly, income isn't the only issue. The real problem? We've convinced ourselves that certain things are needs when they're really just nice to haves, and our bank accounts are the ones paying the price. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down 5 things that are keeping people poor, even if they swear they're being responsible. I used to be just like that, in a constant vicious cycle, until I wiped out over $100,000 in debt by questioning the things that I thought were non-negotiable. Let's get into it. Let's start with the big one, the sacred cow, your car. It's never just monthly payments. There's insurance, gas, maintenance, winter tires, surprise repairs, registration fees, and don't forget about depreciation, which is basically your car bleeding value for every second that it exists. According to Experian, the average new car payment is now over $700 a month in North America. That's $8,400 a year just for the privilege of sitting in traffic in a shiny box. And for what? So your car has heated seats that you take advantage of like twice a year. The truth is people don't buy the car they need. They buy the car that they think they deserve. I work hard, so I should treat myself. Yeah, well, that treat is keeping you broke. And if you're financing a car for over 7 or 8 years, that's not a vehicle, that's a mobile financial trap. I bought this car new about 10 years ago because at the time, I thought I needed a new vehicle to flex on people. It was great getting looks, you know, people driving by you and being like, oh wow, look, a brand new car. So it was nice, it felt great, but I didn't know it at the time, but that thing was keeping me broke for a very long time. Not a lot of maintenance issues just because I bought a Honda, but at the end of the day, my plan is to drive this thing into the ground. I have no more payments on it. While I'm driving this thing into the ground, the goal is really to just save up a little bit of money here and there. And then when it's time to put this car to rest, the goal is really just to have enough to put a big down payment on a used car and then go from there. Like, do you ever wonder why millionaires are always driving like old busted up Toyotas? We'll come back to that in part 5. Listen, I love animals, but you know what else I love? Not going into debt for like flea meds or like doggy dental work. A pet can cost you anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 a year. And that's if nothing goes wrong. Vet emergencies, grooming, food, pet insurance. It adds up so fast. And too often people bring home a pet when they can't even really afford themselves. It's like adopting a toddler that never grows up, never moves out, and chews on your baseboards for fun when they're bored. Now, I'm not saying don't get a pet. I'm saying if you're living off of credit cards or trying to dig yourself out of debt, you might want to hold off on adding a 4-legged dependent. Listen, I've had pets for the vast majority of my life, and they're great emotional support. Realistically, they're part of the family. But again, too often people splurge on a pet to keep themselves emotionally sustainable when they're digging themselves into a bigger hole financially and not even realizing it, and then just adding to their stress. So listen, get a pet if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, maybe hold off for a bit. There's always going to be pets out there. I'm probably going to get like a ton of hate for this one, but it is what it is. Next, we'll hit the expense that feels necessary for your confidence, but usually just feeds into your ego. We live in a world where people are broke, but dripped out in Zara, Nike, and Lululemon like they're sponsored by them. Clothing is one of the most subtle traps for people who want to look like they're doing well on social media, but it doesn't actually help. A new fit for every post. That culture is real, and it's also very expensive. Fast fashion, cheap, but constant. Designer labels, overpriced status symbols. Both keep you poor in different ways, not to mention adding in the buy now, pay later. And here's like the kicker of this. No one actually cares what you wore last week. They're too busy thinking about themselves. Like, how often do you actually think about what other people are wearing? Honestly, think about it. You're not being judged as much as you actually think. If you're still living paycheck to paycheck and buying new outfits for motivation or for the vibe, you're not building wealth. You're dressing up poverty. Look at me. I'm like, scan through my videos. I wear like 10 different shirts. There was a time where I needed to buy new clothes every now and then because, again, I didn't want to look like I couldn't afford it. Now I'm at the point where like, man, I'm just going to buy a few nice things, keep them clean, and just use them over and over again. There's no need to buy expensive stuff. I'll walk into stores sometimes and look at some of these price tags and be like, how can some of these stores justify these prices? It's crazy. But again, if fashion is part of your budget and it's taken into consideration, then go for it. But for the vast majority, it's not working out. But what if I told you the next category is even more normalized, yet might be one of the things bleeding your wallet every single day? This one hurts the most because it feels like the sneakiest, but it's a daily decision that has monthly impacts. Let's quickly run some numbers. Uber Eats twice a week, $35 each meal. That's around $3,600 a year. Take out lunch 3 times a week at around $12. That's $1,800 per year. Coffee shop 5 times a week at $4 a coffee. That's over $1,000 a year. That's $6,500 a year on food that you didn't have to get. And that doesn't even include the groceries that you purchased and is most likely gonna expire in your fridge. So that's money down the drain. We often confuse food with convenience, but you don't need to cook a 3-course meal to save money. A basic rice bowl beats a $19 salad every single time, and you get to make it yourself. Years ago, I was realizing that I could not afford to live where I was living, plus afford eating out every single day. I always enjoyed cooking, but that small financial incentive was enough for me to learn and actually grow a passion for cooking. Now I cook at home the vast majority of my meals, and I'm throwing money away by keeping the fridge open for this video. So like and subscribe, it'll help recover the money I'm wasting on this fridge right now. So anyway, what's the root cause of all of this? These aren't just habits, they're symptoms. The real problem, that's coming up next. This is the one that hurts the most to admit. The real thing keeping you poor isn't your car or your dog or your latte. It's your unwillingness to sacrifice. You don't want to move in with a roommate, sell the car you can't afford, cook instead of eating out, say no to a cute puppy, or just down for a little while. Because let's be honest, we're all addicted to looking like we're doing fine. But you know what? Wealth isn't about appearances. It's about options. And comfort today often costs you options tomorrow. Every single time you say, I deserve this, and swipe that card, every time you say, I could never live like that, congrats. You just locked yourself into living exactly like that forever. This part was hard for me. I didn't want people to know that I wasn't financially stable. So whenever I was invited out or asked if I had the newest gadget or the newest clothes, I would make sure I went out and bought these things to keep up the appearance that I wasn't doing well. In reality, I was in like a mountain of debt. Being able to take a step back, look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm stopping these things and I'm sacrificing to be able to succeed in the future. It's paying off now, tenfold. Remember those millionaires that we talked about earlier driving those old Toyotas? They've learned this. Don't spend to impress. They spend to invest, and that's the difference. If any of this hit a little too close to home for you, that's okay. This isn't about guilt. It's about awareness. If you want a different financial future, you have to make different choices. Cutting back doesn't mean you're losing. Trust me, it doesn't. It feels so good to realize you're actually going to be winning in the future and leaving the vast majority behind. It also means that you're leveling up. Drop a comment. What's something that you considered essential at one point that you completely let go of? And what did it free you up to do now? Like this video if it gave you something to think about. It helps out more than you know. And check out this video here that YouTube thinks you'll like. And I'll see you in the next one.